networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning.
Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. My name is Galen.
I'm Joe.
We're coming at you from the BD Local Studios virtually in Tacoma, Washington. This podcast is brought to you by Advanced Septic Services. So, Joe, for our new listeners and viewers, how did our podcast come to be?
Absolutely. So it actually first started out as a private Facebook group page where the goal was to bring different businesses on board so that they can kind of talk to one another, share tips, ask questions, and kind of coach one another along their business journey. So we thought, what a better way than to actually start a podcast where we bring on different guest speakers to talk about different topics, all relating to business in some form or fashion.
Awesome. And Joe, we're proud to have reached the 50 episode milestone. So it's kind of a big thing. And not only for our guests in our community, but for you and I, we've become better entrepreneurs as well and expanded our list of resources, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And now to further expand our guest list and our repertoire on this Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, we're pleased to introduce Dani Peleva. So Joe, can you do the first part of the formal introduction, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So today's topic is going to be marketing tips for franchises. So Dani is actually the founder and CEO of Franchise Fame, a franchise marketing agency. Dani holds a bachelor's degree in business management and economics and a master's degree in project management from the University of College in London. She has started her career as a brand manager, client side, before moving to found the agency Local Fame. Ever since, she has worked in branding and digital marketing in various marketing verticals and clients around the globe. She has been running Local Fame for 6 years now and specializes in digital marketing for the franchise sector, hence why she's the founder and CEO of Franchise Fame.
Yep, and through the years, Local Fame has been recognized and nominated for a number of prestigious awards, such as the European Best Agency Awards, Franchise Marketing Awards, and many more. Some of the big names she has worked with include Mailbox, etc., Fantastic Services, Christie's Care Franchise, and many more. So Dani, welcome to our podcast. And by the time this podcast releases, as we did last year, we're celebrating National Women's Small Business Month. So always pleased to have on a woman entrepreneur, small business owner to join us. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So real quick, Joe, our last podcast episode guest we had was Aubrey Terrazas, right? With Palette Club and Terravine. What was one of the takeaways that you had when Aubrey was on our podcast?
So it's really about figuring out a time of the day which you are more creative or more productive, and to focus your more important tasks during that time of day. Because as people are more productive, they tend to get more stuff done. And then also just to make sure that people take off time to relax. So during COVID, there was a percent, I know you know the stat, but there was a percent of people that are not going to take any time off during this last year. But I think it's a huge disadvantage that if they don't take time off, they don't get that time to reboot. And
just a quick review, the last podcast topic was work-life balance. So actually you said a stat, I got that stat for you, Joe. So 52% of people who are working from home are not planning to take any time off to decompress. So it's really important, we're already kept in our homes, not to keep it all in literally, and just to kind of get out and expose your creative self. So thank you for that. Back to Dani. So let's get to know Dani a little bit. So Dani, we asked all our podcast guests the same 3 questions. And Joe, would you please ask the first one?
Sure. What are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
So my entrepreneurial journey started more than a decade ago. I've worked client side and agency side. So I think one of the most important things and lessons that I learned was that failure is part of growth and success. If you don't fail, you don't learn, and then you don't grow. A lot of entrepreneurs get discouraged because they have expectations that they will get it right from the first time or first attempt. That almost never happens, especially in marketing, where you need to test various campaigns, see what works, see what doesn't, and then see the learning and then choose the best one. So for me, that's one of the most important lessons that I've learned.
Awesome. Joe and I have done 50 podcast episodes and we're still learning and getting better every time. So thanks for helping us get on our way. Second question is, what is the best piece of advice that you've been given? So either in marketing or personally to help you in business?
I think personally, that would be personally because I've got two mentors, business partners and mentors who have guided me throughout my journey. And I'm blessed with having them and as advisors on the board of directors as well. So I remember when I was a lot younger and I was just starting in business, they kept saying something to me that only clicked and resonated much later on. They kept on saying, if they haven't heard it, you haven't said it. And I couldn't quite understand what they meant by that. But what it means, it's all down to communicating with your team and having the correct communication with your team. If they haven't heard what you said or they didn't understand what you said, that means you haven't said it the right way, or you haven't communicated it, or you haven't adapted your message the right way so that your team understands and deciphers that message. I only understood it much later on. So yeah, communication is the key, and the way you code the message and you pass on the message and how you adapt the message towards the audience is so important. So if they haven't heard it, you haven't said it right. That's it.
Awesome. I love that. So, and Joe, last question, please.
And this is my favorite question, and this is great because you're also a marketing company, but why is marketing important?
Oh, there's so many answers behind that. So just to name a few reasons. Marketing drives sales. If you don't have any marketing, you won't be driving sales, and your sales team won't be able to sell as increase your revenue. It also teaches you and gives you a lot of data from your clients. So from your marketing campaigns, you learn a lot about the market. So that helps you stay relevant with your products and your product offering. What else? It provides insights about your target audience, your demographics, who you need to target. It also gives you that return on investment where you can invest in various other revenue streams, and just a number of reasons, really. I mean, for me personally, a business cannot exist without any marketing.
Awesome. Well said.
Awesome. Before we move on, our hashtag Valor Cares initiative is something we are very proud of at Valor Marketing. Joe, can you give a quick word on our Valor Cares initiative, please?
Sure. So our Valor Cares initiative started, April of 2020. We just wanted the opportunity to give back to small business owners. Since 2020, a lot of businesses have started focusing on their website, which is the foundation for every business. So we thought, what a better way than to start giving away free website builds to businesses. And so year to date, I think we've given away about 8 different website builds in companies across the US.
Awesome. We'll have more details on that on our social media feeds and when we post. Now we come to the part of our Advanced Septic Pump You Up quote of the day. So we asked Dani for a quote, and this is something I found, and I'll read it to you. Uncertainty does not always pose a threat. It could also mean opportunity. And right before we went live, I literally read a quote minutes ago. In life, 10% is what happens, 90% is how you respond. So just bringing those two together, why does that resonate with you, Dani?
For a few main reasons, Galen, because as humans, our brains are created in such a way where when we see uncertainty, we think it's danger, and we close ourselves and we become extra cautious. And intuitively, because it's in our DNA to protect ourselves and survive, we move into survival mode. As business entrepreneurs and leaders of companies, we should be able to switch out of that survival mode and see uncertainty or anything that comes as a new or innovative environment or change in environment or anything that comes our way, see it in its dual perspective. It can mean an opportunity. The change in the market does not necessarily have to be a negative. It might mean that you can have another product or another service to launch. So just stepping out of that negative and survival mode type of thinking and trying to flip the coin and see how can you make the most out of the situation, because nothing is stays the same forever, and everything changes. Life is dynamic, business is very dynamic. So the moment you understand that and see that actually change is good and change is what keeps you going, and that is usually an opportunity for you to develop and grow and launch new product or a service or just change your business. I think that's the best way and the best thinking mind frame you can have.
So I got one last thing I want to ask you. So since this is a marketing podcast and you have a marketing company, in terms of uncertainty, a lot of businesses we come across or we hear, seem to think that during times like this, when it's uncertain, is when you don't market, and you only market when it's going really well. Can you give us a thought on that from a fellow marketer, please?
So we saw that in when the pandemic hit last year. The first thing that companies did was to stop all their marketing spending and shrink, because of the uncertainty. The very few clients that actually trusted us and followed our advice and remained and advertising and marketing, and all their marketing campaigns stayed, all their advertising campaigns stayed live, and they didn't switch to the survival mode, as I call it. They actually saw a lot more value from those campaigns because all their competitors were waiting to see what's going to happen. And they Google Ads, the same, for example, the same budget that they were spending before, they got triple the return on investment because there was no competition. The cost per click was so much lower. Same thing happened in social. It was social ads and social media and in other channels. So when you think that it's the worst case or the worst time to be actually marketing and advertising, you're usually wrong. That's what everybody thinks, and that is a great opportunity for you to be a trailblazer.
Awesome. Thank you. We wanted that point reinforced because that's why we're so excited about this episode. Now it's our Advanced Septic Did You Know segment. So we like to bring different statistics, myths, and Dani provided some. So our first one, I'll read it out and then get a thought from you. So franchise businesses contributed $670 billion of economic output into the US economy and still represented 3% of the total GDP. So that's a lot of money going into the economy. So do you see franchises as a business that's growing? There's more opportunity into that space?
Yeah, absolutely. The last couple of years have disrupted the market again. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and that pushed them to either search for another job or to actually start thinking about their own venture and starting to work for themselves. A lot of people have been thinking about quitting their 9-to-5 jobs, always having that dream about starting their own gig, but they kind of were not sure. It wasn't the right time. When the pandemic hit and some of them lost their jobs, it was now or never. And I think franchising provides that unique opportunity where you work for yourself, but you don't start up completely on your own without the support, without the framework and advice that you need. So I think that's why we saw such a huge spike and increase in franchise sales, just because it's the perfect moment to actually start your own thing.
Did you see a certain particular franchise company that has grown the most since the middle of last year?
A lot of the franchises that offer at-home services or mobile services grew exponentially because people were just staying at home. So mobile beauty services and anything that relates to delivering food at home or anything that served for that market. We saw an exponential growth. We've also seen growth in PT and gym and fitness industry as well. And also, of course, fast food chains and restaurants too, where you can drive through or pick up, or they started switching up and offered deliveries as well. So yeah, those sectors.
Franchising is projected to add nearly 800,000 jobs and contribute 477 billion to the US GDP. So obviously not only for the opportunity, but you're employing others. So I find that number to be kind of staggering, like in a good way, that there's so many jobs that franchises have as opportunities for everyone else, not just the business owner.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
do you see a lot of those people with their pivots in their job, or maybe people getting second, third jobs? You know, because I know like with delivery, with like Uber Eats and those kind of services, people will often have side hustles to add income where, you know, we go into survival mode. But what's your take on that, just the job sector of it?
So franchising provides a lot of opportunities, not only for you to be running your own business, but also to recruit and hire people. So a lot of job openings. As you said yourself, people can do a few jobs. We've seen that, you know, the 9-to-5 model is shifting. So you can have a few different jobs and work. You can be a shift worker, or you can work depending on whenever you are available too, and just plug in and plug out in certain networks. So in a sense, franchising rethinks the way recruitment market works and recruiting works. I find it incredibly useful, and I'm passionate about franchising because I think it provides economic growth, but also decent work and equal opportunities for everyone. And those are global UN goals too. So in a sense, franchising is an answer to a lot of the problems and the global problems, and that's why it makes it even better. And you're not only earning money, but you're also helping the economy, but you're also helping people and giving them decent work and equal opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Our last one of our Did You Know segment, brought to you by Advanced Septic Services. Overall franchising contribution to the economy is forecast to grow by 7% in 2021. Reaching pre-pandemic levels of economic output by the end of the year. So as you've said, it's trending up in the right direction for all the right reasons. And do you see that slowing down as we move forward, or only increasing?
I think only increasing. We haven't seen the last decade, the franchising industry has continued to steadily grow and bloom. And it's only because people start to believe more and more in themselves and start to work, to want to work for themselves more and more. And there's new franchises that are open up, or new sectors and new in new verticals that haven't necessarily been franchisable before. So I think the more you add to the mix, and the more new franchise services and new companies franchising out you add to the mix, the more they're going to grow. So yeah, I mean, we also see a huge trend of successful businesses wanting to franchise out, because that's one of the paths. Either sell the business, exit the business, or franchise it out and grow it internationally. And we see a large number of successful businesses looking to franchise out, and in this way scale up on an international level.
What are some of those verticals?
Yes.
Sorry, Galen. What are some of those verticals that you mentioned where businesses are successful and now they want to franchise their business?
So novice marketing verticals would be, let me think. So all these mobile news services that I mentioned earlier they emerged the last couple of years, where traditional ones were restaurant, hospitality sector, the beauty sector, home services, but everything that is mobile and is sort of rethinks the way you purchase things and shop, and those are all new new franchises. There are a lot of work from home franchises as well, like and a lot of IT consulting service franchises where you don't necessarily need a high investment to enter and buy the franchise, but you buy into the intellectual property and marketing, and you just become a consultant. That can be anything from energy efficiency consultants to legal consultants, whereas previously those were owned by traditional companies. Now we can see that they are also looking to franchise out so that they can grow and have 100, 500,000 consultants in a certain country, then move on to the next country and franchise there.
So from a business standpoint, owner, if I have a successful business, is there a point that I should look at franchising if I'm on that side? So I'm not trying to acquire a franchise, but I have a successful business that I think could have a successful playbook in other areas. At what point should a business owner look to, this could be a franchise opportunity I want to grow out? Is there a specific number, or how does that look like to that particular owner?
So there's a few parameters and a few questions you need to ask yourself before to understand whether your business is suitable for franchising. I would say first and foremost, you need to know that if you want to go into retirement and take it easy, franchising out is probably not for you right away, because the first few years you would need to even step up your game. There's a lot of legal work to be done, laying the foundations of the franchise, writing the franchise manuals and whatnot. So there is a certain push required there. So a lot of people think, I'm going to want to take it easy and I want to go into retirement. Is franchising for me? Probably in the long run, yes. In the short run, you would still need to make an effort. But first and foremost, a business should be able to be scalable around the geographic location. So can you replicate that business, exact same business, successfully in a different location? That is one of the questions. And if the answer is yes, probably your business is suitable for franchising. Another big question is, if you removed yourself out of the equation, would your business still be successful? Because a lot of entrepreneurs have very successful businesses, but those are lifestyle businesses where they are the driver and the power in that business. Without them, that business would not thrive and be successful. So that is another question you should ask. Also, is that business going to be successful in different markets, in different geographical markets, different countries? How easy is it to replicate? Do you need very specific knowledge to be able to run that business? A certain degree? Is it required to have certain certificates that are very difficult to take on, or can you actually pass that knowledge? Is the knowledge could be passed on and train? Can you train other people so that they can do the same? And lastly, I would say, is your business protectable? Do you have the trademark? Do you hold the IP rights on everything so that you can then go ahead and scale up? Otherwise, someone else will steal your idea.
Yeah, awesome. So now we get to marketing tips for franchises. So obviously we're intrigued because you're a marketer as well, but we just wanted to hear either some tips or some things you see a lot of franchise owners do wrong. Is there something that's really glaring that are 2 or 3 tips you could give to our audience, or 2 or 3 things that they should not do?
So over the years working with franchisors, we've seen quite a lot of common patterns and pain points that franchisors experience, and those are mostly the fact that they feel that their franchises are invisible. They go through that hectic moment of franchising out, creating all the legal side, writing all the franchise manuals and documents, preparing everything, and they expect by the end of it, after they spend hours and hours and hours of hard work on this, they expect a huge line of people wanting to buy and invest in their franchise, but that in reality, that's not the case. So that can be a little bit of a disappointment. Another challenge that they experience is that the lack of time. Because they try very often to do it all by themselves. They're usually swamped with emails and phone calls, stay longer hours at the office, working over the weekend is a norm. And of course, your personal and life starts to suffer. So that is a very common pain point of franchisors too. And lastly, the biggest challenge of franchisors is lead generation in terms of where do I find and how do I find people that want to buy into my business, to invest in my business and become my franchisees. So based on these 3 pain points, we've developed a model, a franchise marketing model that I've called the 5 F's of franchise marketing. And I'm actually in the process of writing a book about it. I'm hopefully early next year, the book will be published. But very quickly, the 5 F's of franchise marketing are franchisee network, having a focused team, fantastic reputation, full funnel, and finding that fit for the franchise. What I mean by those is you need a focused team around you to be successful. You need to surround yourself with A players. Your franchisees and your existing network of franchisees and partners also should be content in terms of you need to keep them happy and do local marketing initiatives for them so that they stay on, because you can't be searching for new franchisees while others are signing out or signing or dropping out of your franchise because they're not happy and you're not sustaining the numbers. Fantastic reputation is also of essence, like for any business, especially for franchises, because you need to make sure that you're on top of your reputation and your franchisees are also adhering to the high quality of work you'd like to, and high quality of service you'd like to deliver to your clients. A full funnel means that you should also have a constant lead flow of potential new franchisees that want to buy into your business. And lastly, how do you find that perfect fit of a franchisee that wants to buy in? Because you can't be selling it to anyone and expect them all to be successful. You need to have a lead qualification process, an onboarding program, and a training program in place to make sure that those franchisees are the right fit for your business as well.
So real quick, let's just say I bought a franchise for like a mobile hair salon or something mobile, and I don't have a lot of support from the franchise company in terms of marketing. What are 2 or 3 things that a franchise owner, a first-time franchise owner with no marketing experience, should do for marketing themselves? What are like 2 or 3 things that you could share?
The biggest thing that every franchisee should focus on, because it provides the greatest return on investment, is local marketing, local search marketing, and that is harnessing the potential of Google My Business. Google My Business is out there and it's a free tool available for any local business, where you register your business and provide all your business information, and it works around your location or the area of service. Even if you're a mobile salon or any other mobile business, you have an area of operation. This is in the root of franchising. You have a specific geographical area that you are allowed to operate under that brand. So when people search for your services in that area, very often that's done through Google Maps or just in local search in Google. So you need to have that presence and you need to appear locally so that you get found and generate phone calls, driving directions to your spot if you're a location-based business, or traffic to your website. And that is incredibly cost-effective with a great return on investment. So that is the very first thing that every franchisee should do, I would say.
Is there another tip for marketing for first-time franchise owners that you would like?
Yeah, sure. So after you've covered Google My Business, you can also do Google Ads or social media ads, depending on what your target audience is. There are these new Google local search ads as well that have been rolled out in the States and are coming to the UK and are being tested in the UK through agencies. But I would say overall, as one of the best tips is just to adhere to the global marketing plan that your franchisor will provide, because brand consistency is, again, something very important for franchising. You can't be running around and just doing your own thing. This is what makes the franchise incredibly successful successful and strong when you're consistent and you have a number of locations having the same message, the same branding, and the same doing the same marketing initiatives, and that network becomes incredibly strong and can resist the challenges of time, competition, and so forth. So just adhere to what your franchisor and the marketing plan and the marketing initiatives that they are doing and they're passing on to you as a franchisee.
Is that why franchise owners sometimes are just limited to, like, let's say their website, they can only have the franchise website? Is that the big reason why then?
One of the reasons is that also we've seen in the industry that a lot of business owners decide, well, they have these ideas where they want to do everything, or they have this idea to do something that nobody else has done. But franchising is about staying consistent with the overall message. So that's why you have a brand guideline and a franchise marketing action plan, usually per quarter or per month, where they tell you you can do this, you're strongly encouraged to do that, but please adhere to those guidelines. It's up to the franchisor to provide the limits and the framework. Some are very, very adamant about it. Others give you more freedom. So that's probably a good question to ask once you start negotiating and getting to know a franchisor before you actually buy into their business. But yeah, there is a reason for that. And consistency is the key in marketing.
Awesome. Thank you for that. It was great having you on and talking about, I never thought about franchising that way from all the different perspectives, being a potential franchise owner, selling, creating a franchise. So thanks for your insight on that. Before we close, one last plug for our hashtag Valor Cares initiative, Joe, please.
Sure, absolutely. Again, thanks, Dani, for jumping on with us. But if you are a business owner and you don't have a website, or maybe your website's just a little bit outdated, or you're trying to do marketing to your website, such as SEO, and you don't have backend access to your website, then having a website built for free is a great option. And it's lucky enough that our company, Valor Marketing, provides that. But if you just go to askvalormasterminds.com, there's a page link for the Valor Cares initiative. Just go and submit your information, and we choose a couple winners every single month.
Awesome. So on behalf of our sponsor, A Advanced Septic Services, coming at you virtually from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington, officially thanking our guest, Dani, for joining us today on this episode. My name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
And thank you for watching this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me.